一刷根39大林邦呀，腾满腾腾啊巴扎呀扎呀。
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. So, before I start, I want to figure out who is the oldest person in the room. Who's the elder in the room? I know a lot of people, especially women, we don't really like to speak about our age. But I'm going to be pulling a little bit of Jamaican culture, a little bit of African culture in this. And so I consider myself still young, right? And so it's inappropriate for me to talk to people without asking the elders if I can speak. So somebody's going to have to fess up who's the oldest person in the room, so I can ask permission, because I can't start. Are you the elder in the elders? Elder?
Or maybe see. Yeah, but I think you can. Anybody can give permission.
Right. So can I get permission to speak?
Our farm is private.
Thank you. All right. So again, my name is Nicola Shirley Phillips, and I am one of the directors of the Source Farm Eco Village. And just to give you context, Jamaica is an island in the Caribbean. We're 90 miles from Cuba, and from Florida maybe about an hour's flight away. And so we are, a lot of people know Jamaica from Bob Marley. Who knows about Bob Marley music? Or the fastest runner, right? And we do a lot of other things, but we're a little dot in the Caribbean. But for this little dot in the Caribbean, we tend to do a lot of things throughout the world, have a good influence. So the project, I'm just going to clarify because there's something that's written on the board, which is not quite what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be talking a little about the work that we do at Source Farm, and in that there will be some soil, talk about some of the soil work. So again, the Source Farm is an intentional community, and we've been around for about going on 18, 19 years. And this community is an intentional community, and it's one of the only official ones in Ireland that we actually set an intention. And so I want to speak about that community issue, because many of the country itself is made up of a combination. We had traditional, the indigenous people, which are called the Tainos, and when Columbus showed up, they went through and decimated the population. A few of them went up into the hills, like how you have hills here. They ran to the hills, and they're considered like the maroon communities that mixed with also the next set of people that came. They brought in were the Africans from all over, from West Africa to East Africa, and they enslaved the Tainos first, and then they also brought the people, enslaved people, and brought them to Jamaica. And then we also had Chinese and also Indian from East India. So we had the population grew out of, we say in our quote, out of many one people. So there's a number of different sets of people. Then of course European, mostly Scottish Irish, that were brought in. The overseers were Scottish or Irish. They kind of oversaw the plantations. And so agriculturally, one of the things that the two things that they kind of came to Jamaica and did was sugar cane for rum, and also indigo for the dye, the fabric dye. Because in Europe, it was only royal people that could really wear the blue, the dye, and even in Africa, it's the same thing. So when they could enslave people to mass produce this, they made a lot of money. So the blue jeans that we are used to wearing comes out of that. Lots of dye, and then they learn how to make it synthetic. So after the independence, people were just kind of let off. Some people stayed on the plantation because they had nowhere to go. And then some people went into the hills and just went onto lands that nobody kind of wanted. And so there wasn't, maybe a lot of people here have been in their particular culture, homeland for many, centuries or, generations. Most of the people that came, they came from different places, and they purposely did not put all the same tribes together. So you could be a Yoruba, and you could be Igbo, you could be different tribes, and they just put you on the plantation. As a matter of fact, they didn't want you to be able to know a lot of people. So when there was no more enslavement, people just kind of went into different directions, and they kind of unintentionally formed community, right? So they just kind of like, oh, we're getting, and we just go different places. And so this work that we're doing now is about setting an intention for people who want to live a certain way and want to listen to the ancestral wisdom and knowledge and kind of move back into a right living with nature. And also it's important to really understand that most of the people that came over, that were enslaved and brought over, was all about extraction, agriculture. So just, we're going to grow things and just extract it to sell it to, send to Europe or send to somewhere else. And a lot of the agriculture now is still about that. It's not about any kind of sustainability. It's all about like creating wealth for someone else. And so those practices still resonate today in terms of a lot of people that farm. They're not thinking about any kind of food security for themselves. It's always about let's farm and send it abroad, send it to America, send it somewhere else. And also never about making value-added products. It's all about how can we make the raw material and send it off island. So that's how we kind of develop. So in about 05, 06, my mother, who we were living in Jamaica, she migrated to the US because everybody wants to leave the island to get a better life. And so she took us to go to school in the US. And that was in about 1984, 85, and then she decided she wanted us to come back to Jamaica. Like, what do you want, right? And so she has 3 children. She's myself, I'm the oldest, my brother, and my sister. And we all were living very full lives. We went to school, we have our degrees, have our businesses, and then she decides she wants us to go home, and we're like, what's going on? And so she said, okay, she worked on us for a very long time. And she kept working on us and said, oh, you know, we could just have a house there and that kind of stuff. And so she was looking for about 3 to 6 acres of land for us to build a family home. And we ended up getting a property with 63 acres of land. You know, we're like, what are we going to do with this land? But only to find out that other people, other family members wanted to also join us because they wanted to also have the opportunity to come back home or to just live a different kind of life. So this is a product of the source farm ecosystem. So when we ended up with this piece of land, we said, well, you know, we have this land. My parents used to have a farm when we were growing up, and each of the children, each of my mom's children, wanted to do different things. So we have this land, and we didn't know anything about that we could create a village. Because after coming through this enslavement and post-colonial life, you didn't know that you could do this. You just kind of live because they program you to work and stress yourself out and to follow the system that's there, but you never knew that you could create something. So when we had this land, we decided, well, what are we going to do on this land? And so each of us and our friends and our other family members sat and co-created with, co-created, like had a whiteboard, and everybody wanted, my sister's a teacher, I was a chef, my mother's a nurse, my brother is into the building, and so our other friends were there, and they all kept putting down what they wanted to do. And so we didn't know about permaculture. We didn't know anything about permaculture. We just knew that these are the things that we wanted to do. So this is us. We are in St. Thomas in a very special parish. That parish is the parish that is, they call it the troublemaker parish because we give a lot of trouble. And so that parish is known for the Morant Bay Uprising, which is the uprising that actually, after it was 1865 when there was supposedly independence, but it was not really independence. The people had a lot of issues with the then governor and the establishment, and so they wanted some better rights and better treatment for things, and so they marched to the courthouse, and a lot of drama happened, and a number of people, like 900 people, got killed because the army came from Kingston and from the sea and just killed everybody in their path. And so there's 2 things that happened. It helped change and reform a lot of the laws in Jamaica. but it also made the parish be called a troublemaker parish. And so, till this day, they don't have any representation. Anything of representation comes from outside the parish and comes into the parish. So you have a member of parliament or somebody's going to represent the parish, not from within the parish, it's always outside when you send somebody in. And so we're still trying to change that. So we are, with all the design that we did in terms of all the things we wanted, we came up with a name source. We found out about permaculture. Chuck Marsh, who's a permaculture teacher that came to Jamaica. He actually came in the 70s to Jamaica and had a great experience. A lot of people took care of him. And so when we called him, we were told to, give a couple people a call. And we called him. He said, absolutely, I'd come. And he came and really taught us about how to deal with this land. Because if we didn't, we had made some mistakes on it by putting buildings in the wrong place and all that stuff. So he showed us pretty much a 2-week PDC with everybody that was part of the project. And so this is what we do. So maybe, all right, so right now we have officially about 25 full members in the community. We have a lot of people that are still living in the US and other places that haven't come back. But these are some of the people that are always on there. There's more people, but they're not in the picture. And this is, we'll talk about Ujima Farmers Market a bit. So Source Farm is an innovative model community that is dedicated to respecting earth and restoring Mother Nature. We foster personal growth, development, and empowerment of the community. And what we are is pretty much a demonstration community to show other people that it is possible, right? And so I just want to say that we didn't have a lot of money or anything like that. We just came together and said that we're going to do this. And each time, step, we just kind of worked and learned how to do different things. So, I'm going to hit the next button. So, this is our mission. We reconnect with people because we feel that a lot of things that happen because we're not connected to the earth, and we lost that because of us are disconnected from ourselves. When we were back home in Africa or wherever the people came from, we have kind of come into a very new system, capitalist system, but was not really connected to the earth. So when we look at the earth, it's more about commerce, not about all the divine connection that was there. And so we have, our work is to reconnect folks.
So this is the farm in spring, and you can see all the
So,
snow is melted, the roads are
with all the work that we do, there are always the challenges, right? So we look at one of the main problems. I've talked about the disconnection, and so the way people look at the earth is always about extraction, and they don't take care of it. They cut trees. They just kind of forget who they are, that they are divinely connected. And so the other thing that our problem is the need to co-create balance in the food and governance and just how we deal with the resources. So we try to do different work to remind people and to not just talk about it, but demonstrate it as well. Okay, so we have a couple different things that we needed to do, because remember, when they brought us into the system that we're in now in Jamaica, again, the disconnection, we have to rebuild everything. We have to rebuild a food system, rebuild a connection. Many people are still suffering from a post-trauma from going through enslavement. And so we had to not just take one approach where we're just looking at nature, but looking at everything. So we started out with the permaculture design. So we say we're going to design our way home. That's something that Chuck always says. We're to design our way home. And then we had to reconnect to organic intelligence. That's what we're saying is OI, organic intelligence. Because as much as everybody talks about AI, the real intelligence is out there in nature and in the plants, in the soil, in the work that we do, and also in the spirit. And I'll talk about the spirit in a little bit, because a lot of the things that we've done is about the connection to spirit, that we are very much spirit-led, because the ancestors are always around us, and they're the one that has been guiding the process, right? Really guiding the process. So we also, Source does all of these things. So Ujima, when we got back to Jamaica, we need to get food, because we wanted to have organic food, clean food to eat, because many of the people, including myself, was unhealthy by the food that we were eating out in the world. And so how do we now, we have to now grow our food and learn how to grow our food. So we had to do, with the permaculture design, we offered classes for the last 12 years, 10, because Chuck was before, at least 11, 12 years, of permaculture classes married with organic farming, because we wanted to make sure people understood first how to connect back to nature before they just went in and put in a garden or a farm, and they could be doing just as much damage because they didn't understand. So always permaculture first, and then we connected people to the farming. And so they could design and lay out their farm in a way that would really be helpful for them instead of being destructive. Out of the work of training up the farmers with both permaculture and organic farming, we had all this produce, like what we're going to do with this produce. So we didn't want to just go and sell it at the farm gate, which would give the farmers no money, because again, nobody really, because of the slavery, everybody think farmers are just slave or just not smart or just whatever, and they only want to give them very low prices, and so they could never survive on that. So we said no more of that. Anybody that is growing and going through our work and is working clean food, we will make our own market. So we use this as an economic development, because remember I said that the parish itself was the troublemaker parish, so it was the last to get everything, last roads, last school, last everything. Everything we don't get very much services. And so we said if we do this organic farming work and this permaculture work, which is a marriage of it, we were able to then take the produce and go to the main city and set up our own farmers market, so we could get the direct commerce in instead of just waiting for them to come to the farm gate and pay us nothing for it. So that is Ujima. Ujima is a Swahili word that means collective responsibility. So everyone that is part of Ujima is part of the responsibility of running that market. And we'll talk more about that later on. But it's a farmers market that we do. And it's the only organic farmers market in the entire island. And it's really important because we have a lot of people that are not well, and so the doctors will send their patients to us with a list of things that they need to do. If they're doing a detox or they need some health issue, they come to the farmers market for it, because it's the only place that is clean. And this is a result of, remember, it's all the farming that's being done is all chemical based, because it's all about yields and extraction. It's not about caring about the earth. So there's very little, even though we think that, there will be more, because of the Rastas and the ITIL movement, we would have more clean food. It is the opposite. It's more about yields and extraction. The other thing that we realized that we were trained out of working together as a people, because we had different groups of people, and also, the whole slavery system is about like, they didn't want people to work together. They wanted to work on the farms and the plantations, but they didn't want you to work together, because then you would have an uprising, right? So they didn't want that. So people didn't trust each other. So now we have to not just work on the physical things of building structures and farming and reconnecting, but now we have to work on how do we work together. And so we had to do work on our emotional intelligence, so that we learn again how to not always be fighting, and how do we work together as a group. So we had to do a lot of work, and we're still doing a lot of work on that. And from that, the other work that we do is that we now have a research station, organic research station, which we're going to do a lot of more work. And that's the lands were donated to us because of the work that we have been doing to be able to do even more work. So it just so happens that many of the members are educators, and so almost everybody there, even if you didn't want to be an educator, you end up being an educator. So you have to be all teachers. So these are some of the programs that we have. The One Cocoa program, which Jeremiah has been doing the permaculture piece of it for 10, 11 years. Every year we run at least one PDC, at least one PDC a year. And then, so that's a program we do, and then we do the PDC, and then we do the organic farming. You see, we have a project, it's called Jamaica sustainable enterprise program, and that's where we work with those farmers that we graduate and that we bring them technical assistance. We had a USAID project that we brought down different volunteers, and whatever the farmer needed help with, we could find that volunteer to help. Because remember that we didn't have a lot of people on island that understood about organic farming. Nobody in the government, nobody in extension knew anything about that. So we have to bring that knowledge in to help them learn about it, because everything is programmed for extraction and pesticides and that stuff. So this HEART program is the first time the government has actually had a training program for organic farming, and we're the ones that facilitate that program. So there's nowhere else on island that has been done. We do a lot of appropriate technology because we have to bring in. We have sun and wind, and we have the third highest electricity bill in terms of the world. They have made a lot of money on electricity. The government owns the apparatus, but they parts own it with other outside companies, and so they make their money off of the Jamaican people. So it's really the third most expensive electricity. So we are now showing that you could do solar, you could do wind, you could do hydro. So we demonstrate solar and wind, and then we also show about solar pumps and that kind of stuff. And when we came 18 years ago back to Jamaica, there was only one or two people that even knew about it. We would teach and show different university professors that it could work, because they kept saying, oh, this thing can't work. And we're like, no, this technology is actually from 1940s and 50s. It can work. And so because we're very visual people, we have to show and prove it. So we have to go and show them. So we would do a lot of tours and showing the solar system running the wood shop, or the solar system running the houses, and it was almost like people it was like magic, So now there's more people that have come and learned about the appropriate technology that we do and show. We've been doing a lot of work because not everybody has the phones, so we do farmer trainings and stuff on the phone. Every Sunday at 4 o'clock, there's a class that we offer. Or we bring in experts on, you say, oh, I don't know how to do this, I'm having a problem with this, and we bring them in, and we have a 2-hour podcast, and it goes across not just Jamaica, but the Caribbean as well. We've been starting to do some e-learning classes with other schools like Tuskegee University, so people can, on island, if they want to learn about post-harvest, they can get a degree from that. So we're partnering. And then we have other programs, so Regeneration, which I'll talk a little bit. We do a lot of natural building, earth bag and mountain domes, and we show how to do that and teach it. And then we have a natural dye workshop, and we have now a new partnership finally with University of West Indies, so that they can do economic development. So the work too is about how can we, sustain, not just sustain, but regenerate and to thrive. And so it's very important for us to look at economic development and utilizing the organic permaculture principles to be able to create livelihoods for ourselves. And so as we train up farmers and they have the farming and then they have their value-added product, everyone is required or encouraged to have a value-added product that we will be able to not just, if something happens, they have another source of income. So we have really beautiful products. And I actually have some things tomorrow from them that we'll share. So we'll be over on the table, different products. Right. The thing that we've been working on a lot these days is with the farmers market. We want to be able to do another farmers market on the other side of the island, because people literally have to drive 4 or 5 hours to come if they're not well, to come to get produce, or sometimes we try to put them on a bus to send it over. The other thing is that we have a lot of people that have left the island, they come home, maybe they're sick, and they're way on the other side of the island and they need food. It's hard for them to drive all the way over, so we want to have another market on the other side of the island, and we train up the farmers in that side to support that market. So our next work, we have a grant from the Jamaican agency, It's called Ready To. It's kind of money from, I guess, World Bank gave the Jamaica government some money, and they're supposed to be helping the parish. And I don't know, it's been taking them forever to do it, but we're supposed to be getting. So the Ujima farmers are going to get. Some of them will get post-harvest spaces, so that they can be able to scale their production and have like a proper, healthier space to do their processing. And so with the lands that we got donated, we have a post-harvest distribution center that we're working on now, so that within the parish of St. Thomas, the farmers will be able to farm, have their value-added products, and it will go in a distribution system, and that will be able to go across the island for whoever wants it, because people do want the product, but they can't drive, and we can't keep running to the post office or the bus station to put products on. So we're doing that. And so we're creating an online marketplace for them to order, and then us for being organized to do that distribution. So, so these are some of the partners that we partner with, and projects that we also have. So the research station, we have a project called the People Seed, because we have a lot of problem with seeds. We have some things that we grow on island, some of the indigenous things, but also we want to have other products, other vegetables. And so the island doesn't actually grow. They grow Scotsman and pepper. They have like 5 things that they grow in the government program, but the rest of the things they don't really save seeds. Farmers have been trained out of saving the seeds. There's no real seed saving, because the agro-pharmaceutical companies do one seed termination, or they don't really want the farmers to, because they want them to keep coming back to the trough to buy those products. So the history that they used to do way back when of saving seeds is gone. They're just not. They go to the farm store. It's all kind of toxic stuff on the seeds, and right. So for organic farmers, it's very hard, because they also have been trained just to buy the seeds. They haven't been saving a lot of seeds. So we have a project called the People Seed, and I really would want everyone from other countries to like pick it up as well. And I know people have been doing a lot of seed saving, but the seeds really belong in the hands of the farmers. And actually, the best way to save seed is to plant seeds, so that you can keep, getting them and adapting to the conditions that we have. So we have the People Seed project, and that project is that we grow, we share, and we save in that project. We work with Trees That Feed on a number of projects. We have a breadfruit project, where we're making breadfruit flour, cassava flour, pumpkin flour with that project. And we plant more breadfruit trees out. And we make papaya wine, and we also do tours. Jamaica is known a lot for cannabis, so we have done training on how to grow cannabis much more healthier, and we do a thing called the Reasoning Tour, and that tour is about the way how this whole cannabis thing happened for us is that it's again big government is not involved, and the Rastas that have been locked up and beaten and harassed, and even still, they're not getting any benefit out of it, right? It's only you have to pay $30,000 to be able to have a license to do it. And so we are trying to work with people that visit Jamaica, that want to come to Jamaica to smoke, to actually go and visit the local farms and support them and show them, like their support. So they come and they maybe get some cannabis for their stay, but they're going to see the conditions, and they will help with not just buying ganja, but other things like, maybe they have t-shirts or whatever, kind of like a farm tour to support the Rastas that are there. So we have that. And Blue Odyssey is another project, which is a mushroom project, but it's 2 things. It actually, not just mushroom, but also psilocybin, but also oyster mushrooms production, because we need to have more mushroom production. Here, there's so much mushroom production, but we are just learning about mushrooms in Jamaica, and we have a lot of vegetarians, and we want to diversify what they have, and so we're just learning about it. So that's that. So, all right, emotional. Okay, very important. When people come and they come to Source and they want to do a tour, they look at a lot of the times the infrastructure, the domes, the earth bags, that kind of stuff. And I really want them to ask, or I always mention to them that it's not about the physical buildings that you see, it's about the emotional development of the people to be able to work together. Because they've really kind of separated us, we're not supposed to work together. And we know that once we put our energies together, that we can do anything. So we have really had to work on our folks to make sure that they are learning how to work together. So Jamaica ranks high in crime, per capita, the youth substance abuse, high unemployment, racism, classism, and the whole colonialism stuff. And so how we've worked to overcome some of this, within our village, and we teach every time we have any classes, or if we work with anybody, we're doing formal consensus, or now we sometimes do sociocracy, like we trained in formal consensus, and that's the way we work. But we're also learning about sociocracy, like 2.0. And we do conflict resolution, we host a lot of these classes. And also, a lot of the things that we do too is bringing back our African traditional wisdom into the space, where we do divination. One of the things, the main focus that we've done that has been very helpful is that between the African wisdom systems and also the I Ching, everybody in the community knows how to divine and use the I Ching, because then that helps them balance out. If they have a problem, they can know how to get back centered and not cause a lot of conflict. So everyone does that. We have unity of purpose agreements. So if we're going to work with anyone, even if it's a government agency, we put them through that process, that they understand that we have to have clear agreements. Because sometimes the government will come and say, to the farmers, we want you to do this, and it's not clear about what it is that they're asking us to do, and we're not supposed to ask a question, we're supposed to just take what they give us. And so we put them through a process of we have to work and create a clear agreement about what it is that you're asking us to, or what the partnership is all about. So we do a lot of that state of grace agreement stuff. And then the meetings when we have is very collaborative, and we really look in terms of future economic, and interpersonal forecasting to make sure that it's not just one person's idea, but everybody is really in alignment with what it is so that we can share. So it makes the work a lot easier. It's the most amazing and beautiful space to work in, because we don't have to beat anybody to do anything. Everybody comes to the table really happy to do this work because they know it's their life purpose, and we don't have to force anybody to do anything. So people come and they do what they're supposed to do. Okay. Our impact. These are the things that the programs that we do. Again, the sustainable agriculture projects, empower economic development, community development through education. So these are all the different ways that, and also we're not just talking about what we're living in, supporting healthier lifestyle. Okay, so we're here. I was asked and encouraged by Jeremiah to come and to kind of share what we're doing. And so we really are doing a lot of this work. I wanted to pull out one of the projects that we're working on right now. It's called the Genesis Project. And it's the first time organic farmers are actually working directly with the government. They sponsored a program called Genesis, what we call Genesis. And we actually are able to go around the island and start teaching these practices. Some of it is organic practices, some of it is permaculture stuff that we're teaching, but we can't say it's organic because it frightens the government and the farmers, because they've been so programmed that it can't. You ask anybody, if I give you the phone and call anyone, they say, organic can't work. Organic can't work. You go to the college, organic can't work. This is just the thing, they just get this phrase and it just keeps repeated, it can't work. Or it can't work. And so even with this project, and they know it's an organic project, we can't say the word organic. So we just have to say best practices, whatever way it is. And so we're going around the island now and doing the 11 different strategies for soil fertility, because what is happening is that because of the years of the kind of farming that they've been doing with sugarcane or peppers, any kind of thing is always about the extraction and about the chemicals. And as a matter of fact, the entire Ministry of Agriculture is really run by the agrochemical company, because they fund all the lunches for the people. They give little junkets to go to this hotel or to fly off island or whatever. So they're all programmed to support these companies. And when there's election, those big agro companies pay for the election. So they're very much embedded in the system to like support that. So, you know, the way that we had to do, the only way that we were able to get this project was because of COVID. And they realized when they could not import the things because there was no boats or planes coming in, the whole food system shut down because they didn't have any more fertility. So we are training them now how to, if it happens again, that we be able to give different strategies of how to make sure that they can grow their fertility. So that's how we've had to put our, as you say, your nose under the elephant's tent to kind of get in there and start doing some work with folks. So this is the work that we're doing. And so, you know, I'm here representing both, like, all the organizations, the farmers market, the eco village, the research station, and also the Jamaica Organic Agriculture movement. And I'm looking for best practices, I'm looking for other stories, I'm looking for, because I realize as I'm here that this is something that not just Jamaica is facing, but everyone else is having the similar challenges. And the best way to do is for us to work together so that we can make it a little easier. So it doesn't take us another 40 years to get to that where we have, you know, a number of, you know, a lot more farmers. So we have about 40 farmers. We actually there's more organic farmers, but 40 farmers that we work with in the farmers market. We want in the next 2 years to more than double that, and we hope that with that project we'll be able to really bring more people into alignment so that they can be able to, you know, get, if not even certification, they'll be able to have more practices, because there's a lot of people that want the produce, but we don't have enough farmers actually farming it. So this is what we're doing. So, all right, I think that's it. Is there any questions? Okay. Wait, he went first.
Very nice, thank you for sharing. We are also working on a similar model organization. You said there are farmers who are like 5 hours away from the market. So how the farmers market works and how the economics of it work.
Well, actually,
how the logistics and everything work in the farmers market and the economic model and everything.
Right. So it's actually only an hour away. It's 1 hour away, right? And so the way it works is that we've been in other locations, but now we're at the Hope Gardens, which is a very beautiful garden. They allow us to come into it. And the market it runs on Saturday. I've been trying to get them to do 2 market days, but they're very hesitant to do it. First the market was twice a month, and I had to trick them, literally trick them to do it. Once a week. I mean, once a week on a Saturday. And then we have a population that is an Adventist population that want the produce, but they have Sabbath, and so we're trying to figure out how we can make that happen. But we need to grow more farmers to make that happen. So they were getting such low prices that even the hour away for them to travel was absolutely worth it for them. And not only, most of the people that we started working with was in St. Thomas as our economic development strategy for the parish. But there are people that travel all the way from Trelawney, which is about 4 hours away to get, but it's such a good market that people travel that far to come and sell. Every Saturday they come down, and people like 2 hours away they come. And also it's because it's kind of become Ujima family. So they come and it's like, oh, they're coming home. It's family, they know everybody, we're very supportive and all that stuff. So it's been, for them to keep choosing, the market's been around for 12 years. Yeah, so we've established. Well, now it's time to like really help the people on the other side of the island. So we're trying to grow more farmers on that side so they can do it.
What's the average land that a farmer has?
The average?
Average land.
Most of our farmers have, Jeremiah, what do you think? Yeah, there are some people that actually have 4 acres, but there's some people that have large acres too, but they still are really working on these small portions of it because of labor and, you know, that kind of stuff. But usually about, I said 2 to 4. Yeah.
I have 3-4 questions.
Yes, no.
I will go one by one.
Okay.
You say there is a 63 families are in your village.
No. It's 63 acres of land.
63 acres. Sorry.
Right.
63 acres.
Right.
The land. they do collectively or they have done separately?
Okay, our intentional community model is that when people come into the community, like they have the lease, we own the land collectively,
Okay.
and we have now that we've switched the structure to what's the word, shares.
Shares.
Right. So once you put your shares in, you have the access to 1/4 acre of lot.
It's a
But you,
cooperative community.
huh?
Cooperative based community.
Right, exactly. And some things we work on. We have our community kitchen that we all pay money into.
Okay.
And then some things, but this one is not necessarily always an income sharing because everybody is doing different things. So my brother is a builder. He goes and builds inside, outside. Yeah.
The second question, you said there is a 40 people goes into the market for the selling.
Right.
40 people.
Well, it depends. Some weeks it is 25.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 30. Yeah.
So they get the charge for that.
Huh?
For the selling, they will get some charge.
Yes, they pay in Jamaican dollars, $5,000
Okay.
for each market, and that because we have to now pay for the space, and it's really hard. It's really hard for me because when I was in the U.S., the government supports it. You would never have. They would always want to set it up, but in Jamaica, they don't care. They're like, oh, you just have to. There's no support.
Okay. The third question is that you get the premium rate for your produce, though it is organic one.
Yes, we get a premium price.
How much?
Let me give you an example. Say for instance, like in the local market, you might be, say pumpkins, you might pay something like, now everything's gotten high because of the weather, but maybe you pay $100 a pound. There you can 300, and nobody complains.
That's
No,
great.
seriously. The mushrooms that I was talking about, we were growing mushrooms, and we said 2005 for the pound, for 1 pound of mushroom. If you do the math, what is that in the US? Like, yeah, $15 a pound.
Wow.
And I had to insist that the farmers did not buy the mushrooms. I said it's for the customers, literally, because they were just buying it up. So that is, I play Robin Hood. I say we're playing Robin Hood. We're selling to the rich sometimes, but everybody can. It's affordable in a sense, and they come and they get what they need to. So we tell them we don't want to make things, the basic things too expensive, but the specialty things, no price fixing. You look at your cost, but we also cost things out. One of the trainings that we do, we have to do more training so they can cost the things out and actually sell it appropriately. But it's a good thing.
Okay. The fourth question.
Okay.
Sorry. Your customer base is increased from last year to this year.
Yes.
To this year.
It's always increased.
Is always
And that's the problem.
Huh?
It's a good problem to have, but it's a problem because we don't have enough produce. People come before the market starts,
Correct.
and we have to make a rule. No, the market starts at 9 o'clock, and you have to pray before you start. But people come there from 8, and what they start doing is they start picking up the things. They're not allowed to exchange money until after we pray, but they start putting up things. So now by 11, 12, there isn't enough produce. And so this is why we're trying to get more people to farm, because we just don't have enough production. We get the hotels, we get the supermarkets, we get all these people that want us to sell organic. And you think the government would get this and help us to but it's not. No. Wait, let's break it up a minute.
This is last.
Oh no! Okay.
This is last.
Okay, you sure? Okay.
The last question, you said you are feeling in a shortage of the supply. You have the customer base is increased day by day, but you are not able to supply in full way. Why other people are not get attracted to do the organic farming though they know these people get a premium rate than others.
Yeah.
So why they are not attracted?
Yeah, it's the mindset. They keep saying it can't work. And so that's where we have to now do more training to show them that it can. Because they think it's like, oh, if the bugs are going to eat everything, oh, they can't, whatever. And we will help them do the transition, but they just kind of stuck.
Mindset.
The mindset, yeah. It's easy, they know how to do it, they can just keep putting chemicals to learn something new, they're not really that interested.
Yes.
Well, you segued into my question, which is the transition. So the new farmers obviously changing from chemical to organic takes time. So I was going to ask, like, do you have a program in place? How long does it take? Is there support for that? Drop in production whilst the transition occurs, and kind of mechanisms to help them transition faster?
Actually, I would say yes and no, because I would love to see, there's lots of models out there to make that transition, but it needs to be supported. So we need to be able to hire the farmers or bring in other educators to make that transition happen faster. So the only thing that we have right now is that project which we just signed with the government to go and start doing that work. So normally if you were in a system that you could get like some government funding, or the extension people would say, all right, what I hope for is so that the extension people would learn, and then there'll be 5 or 6 people that would go and help them do it. But right now it is Jeremiah and that come.
But I think you have been doing that a lot over the
Yeah.
years. Of like, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
but it's still not fast enough.
besides permaculture, there's budgeting, there's like farm economics classes,
Yeah. Yeah,
there's
but
definitely, there's like you said, the podcast each week. And
yeah, but it's. I wanted it to make it a lot faster, and I think it can. But it means that you have to have, they say in the thing, if the leaders have no vision, the people perish. And so if the leadership doesn't see, we have to keep tricking them to do things to clean up the place. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, right? But if they don't put give us a little bit of help, every time we have to fight for everything, every little thing to get them to look at organics, so, to trick them into, come to this thing, and that's what we have to do to kind of get them to pay attention. And so I think the tide is turning, because I see we had a very good thing. A lot of the other thing that happened with farming in Jamaica, why it's also the way it is we have a lot of tourism. And so the hotel chains buy all the produce in America, and they ship it in, right? And so the chefs want to have consistent things, but they figure the farmers won't be able to do it, but they haven't organized the farmers to do it, because they can just, logistically order something, it comes in and it's done. But meanwhile, there's no food security on the island. And so that's also another thing that comes into play, right? And then the other thing that's happening, a lot of our farmers get sent abroad to Canada and the US to farm. So the ones that would have an idea about even farming, they're not able. They go and they work for 9 months. They come back, they're exhausted, they have some money in their pocket, they're not going to necessarily start farming again. So that's there's another, those issues as well happens. All right, somebody else is in this.
就是在台东啊，我们有几个有机农户，他会做有机的生产，但是因为是小农，他每次去栽种一些番茄粥去贩售的时候，常常会遇到因为附近的气候条件都类似，所以能生产的种类都是一样的，可能出来的时候大家都一样，其实价钱就不好，因为大家都一样。但是当每次有一些台风灾害的时候，这些蔬菜类都不见了，都没办法生产，然后也没东西可以卖，慢慢的消费者就会觉得说，你有一下有一下没有，一下有一下没有，就不会去消费，然后就慢慢的这个市场就萎缩掉。在牙买加类似遇到这种灾害的时候，如何去维持蔬菜的多样性，让人选择，或是可以减少灾害之后没有东西可以销售。
In Taiwan, there's organic farmers. They are all very little. and then they are growing over the same region. So every time they have a food or farm product in the market, they are all the same. But sometimes when there's a typhoon and disaster happen, and they show the veggie or food, and for the customer who went to the farmers market, they say, oh, today they have food, tomorrow they have nothing. Sooner or later, customer feel it's not reliable, so they are not going to the market anymore. So the market was shrinking in size and finally disappeared. Is that happened to Jamaica and this kind of farmers market?
No, we haven't had that issue. I mean, we did have hurricanes and stuff. I think this rainy season we had 2 or 3 of the main people that didn't come to the market, but this last week they were back. So they, some of the greens. But we want to be able to get some of the farmers some equipment like a shade cover because of the rain to be able to do that. But they've been coming. And then they diverse. Not everybody is doing the same. We really worked on that to make sure that everyone didn't do the same thing all the time. Right? That's something that we actually have a meeting and like, okay, can you plant this and you plant that and you plant this? And so yeah. And then there are a lot of things that's been working is we have a lot of tree crops. So we have a lot of fruits and things like that. So the greens come into play, but it's not like it's the only thing. So they're able to do a lot of the other crops. So it is.
Okay, I apologize if you talked about this before I got here, but I'm curious, in the conference we heard about someone saying like making it more cool to be growing organic farming or this sort of farming. Is there something you can talk about on this and how you try and make it like a more perceived, money's one thing, but also there's just like it being cool if you're the farmer sort of thing. Right.
So we've been really working on making farming sexy. We have some very handsome farmers. So hopefully this year we are going to actually make a poster for the farm to be sexy. As a matter of fact, the calendar, they made the calendar for the farming, right? So the thing too is that we've really been blessed with a couple of the farmers that have become rock stars. There's a group, Stush in the Bush is one of the people that worked with us early. Now they've kind of developed into their own thing, so they don't really come to the market anymore because they've just done so well. So they got the Branson Fellow, and Chris is very handsome. So people, and then actually we hear too, because a lot of the people that come to the market are women. So if I show you a picture of my brother or a picture of the other farmers, so a lot of times the women come and they all get together. So we've been making farming sexy again for people to make more people want to go in there. So that's one thing that we've been doing. But really, we're gonna make it. But also in terms of the training and stuff, is to really show like the economics part of it, because a lot of people didn't. The other farmers didn't. So when we do the training, we really okay, look at the cash flow, let's do these. Now every time we have a conference called Farming as a Business, we really take a crop and work it through so the farmers understand, so they don't just plant something they're not going to make money on. If you love that thing, yeah, plant it for yourself, but think about what you're planting and don't just plant stuff. So we really are trying to get it to be that next level of farming. Yeah. And
so can I ask one on
yeah.
top of that? Are there any celebrations or parties you have then with all these sexy farmers?
Yeah, we do. So we have an annual event, and then at the farmers market we do have every week there's something going on in terms of that. So we always do celebrate, and then the holidays we're doing things. So there's always something that we bring the farmers together. Yeah.
You mentioned a couple times that you would try, that you had to trick people to make things happen. Can you give us some more examples about how you've done that and the kind of results that it's had?
Well, I mean, Jamaica people are very stubborn, and it's good, but it also is bad sometimes. So I talked about the farmers market. So we always have to almost we're very foreign-minded in Jamaica because everything has always been about tourism. So I sometimes have to bring in other people, because I could say to you, oh, I think you should do this because I know it's a good practice. But I have to trick them. So sometimes I bring in Jeremiah to trick that. Okay, so Jeremiah will say the same thing I would have said. So that's something I do a lot of. And sometimes because of women, because I'm a woman too, that comes into play. But also sometimes it's a color. right? So if I'm doing something with a government official and I'm a woman, they not necessarily look at me. So I have to bring in. This is how we got the project. The project. I said to them, if I go to these guys, they're not going to listen to me. So I said to my friend, actually Jeremiah's friend, Devona, I said, Devona, you're a soil scientist. Come and say this thing to them. And I'd say, okay, I want you to talk about this. And she comes and says it. And then, oh, okay. Because anybody that's from outside of Jamaica knows more than Jamaicans. So you have to kind of play that game. So I'm constantly having to navigate the space. And in the farmers market, what I did with them to switch to do the weekly is I just said, I changed the name and said, we're having a lifestyle market. And I just invited a bunch of craft people, and I was the only vegetable farmer there. And then they heard how much money I made. Everybody started coming. So I have to kind of do these things. And the same thing with this, we're going to be doing the distribution thing. So I have to kind of like, I'm going to start doing this thing. And then they'll see, because it's again about showing them it's possible, because for years you've been said, only do this thing, you can't really co-create, you can't really whatever. So we're opening the opportunity that they can actually co-create something for themselves. Yeah.
That's very creative. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? All right. So
So now that you said that the demand in the market is going up, and you have been following the practice of permaculture for so many years. So have you seen a trend of how in farmers' field does it actually increase production? Is that a motivation to farmers? And following to what he said, we actually have a model of how to switch farmers from inorganic to organic farming. So I'm sharing about that on here on the 6th.
Right, that's what I would love to definitely.
So is there a trend of the increase in production because of the soil regeneration and everything, and how, what sentiment does that give to farmers?
It's really, to be honest, when I first got back to Jamaica, there really was just some people that were like Rastas that were just farming for themselves. And I can't say that all Rastas, even though they're supposed to be item, that they're doing that. Now they've kind of got into, we need to save this crop, so they're using chemicals. But what I've but anyway, so in terms of doing that, when we brought in the volunteers that had the 30 years of experience, or even on the podcast, we had farmers that wanted to grow tomatoes, and we are only, unfortunately, in Jamaica only growing 2 tomatoes, a plum and a plum tomatoes, and the table they don't have any variety. And that's what was happening before. And then they were having problems with white flies and all these different things, and so we're able to bring someone that had been growing tomatoes forever. And immediately he was able to diagnose the problem, and then he talked them through everything about growing tomatoes, and that helped fix their problem. Same thing with mushrooms. There was a project with an NGO that wanted the women to do mushrooms, and they built the house and did all this stuff, but then they always had problems with this fruit fly thing that was just decimating it. Again, we bring in the technical assistance in, and they were able to fix that, and they were able to have it. So you see the production, and that's why with this project that have the 11 different strategies, we're showing them how to grow fertility, but we're also showing them how farming methodology, so they can not keep buying these things, but they will learn how to make their own. Like for instance, EM, effective microorganisms. Like we're showing them how that they can use this thing instead of all this other bad stuff, that they could actually utilize it and make compost. Like Jamaica was not making any compost, just the organic farmers who know. No one's making compost, so now we're teaching them how to do that.
Is how does the economics work? Like someone who, the example you gave, who knows how to grow tomatoes and maybe goes different places and shows people, would they pay for a workshop, or would you pay, or would they do it for free?
These when we were doing the USA workshops, they were done with no cost.
But so who is paying the farmer who's put the time in to travel around and check on it?
Because with that, it was part of the project that we got, so they would pay the consultant. We have an agronomist, and that agronomist is paid to work with the farmers to get them to, and that came from, by the project that we got, which was USAID. This one now, we do have an agronomist as part of the project, which is our own organic agronomist. And so if the farmers are having problems, they can call them and they go out and they help them and show them what they do.
So does money come in from the market or from this project still to pay for this agronomist?
No, for this particular time, it's just that. But because of how it's working now, it seems to me that the organic farmers that are part of the group, we have a very strong association. So you talked about us going to different workshops and different things. So we kind of, if Source Farm is having so many people come and we'll have a training, we just sharing the information with each other because it's us. It's like almost a little, it's a community, but it's a sea of people that we're all in a life raft together trying to make it happen. And so whenever we have anyone that comes on island or anybody that comes or understands the stuff, we share it. So if somebody else across the other side that has a person that knows or they know something, you can just pick up a call and say, all right, I'm having this problem. So there is Nkrumah, there is Kingsley, there is Arunde, there is, we have about 4 other people that they really are been doing it for many years and they understand how to do it. So they can just call them and say, I'm having a problem with this. Or you make a date, maybe you may pay for their transportation to go to the other side or something, but that's how it's been working.
Beautiful.
All right. So,
一刷根39